Hello everyone and welcome back to Simply Living Tiny. Thank you so much for stopping by today, and I want to say thank you to everybody who left comments, and thank you to all the new subscribers, and thank you for all of the likes that you gave me. I appreciate you so very much. It means so much to me, and I enjoy reading all the comments. And I do try to reply to everyone. If I missed you, I'm so sorry. But I do try very, very hard to reply to each and every one. And in today's episode, I wanted to share with you, even though I live in a tiny house, I made some big changes in this tiny house. And it has made a difference in everyday life. And I wanted to share with you today some of the things that I have changed since I received my home in October 2019 that has made a huge difference in my life. So I don't know if you're planning on going tiny or if you're watching this episode because you're intrigued by tiny homes. Hope that some of these things, if you hadn't thought about them before, I hope that maybe it'll give you something to think about adding to your tiny home to enhance your life as much as it has enhanced my life. So let's get started and let me show you some of the things that I have changed. So the first thing I want to show you today is my front door. Whenever I was designing the tiny home, I really liked the idea of having a full glass front door because of all of the natural light that it brought in. But I didn't want to feel like I was exposed all the time. So the front door that I have is kind of like a Craftsman door. It's a full panel. You have 4 glass panels up here, and then you have wood at the bottom. So you still have that natural light that comes in, and you don't feel so exposed because it's not so open. And then I also want to share with you that something to think about if you are in the process of designing your tiny home is I did request from the builder a tumbleweed tiny home to put in a full-size front door, just thinking about the future, what kind of furniture you may haul in and out, and to be able to have the width of the door to be able to do that. And whenever they deliver the tiny home, it was a tiny door. But what are you going to do? It come all the way from Colorado Springs, Colorado, all the way to Tennessee. And they weren't just down the street where I can say, hey, you put in the wrong size door. So I didn't even say anything about it. I just left it as it was. But what I come up with was adding an addition to the front door. So the size of the door is 28 inches wide and 77 inches tall. And I took a trip down to Lowe's, talked to them there, and they were like, yeah, we can get you a screen door for that size. And it costs a pretty penny to do that. It was $873. And I said, why does it cost more than a rate? Because it was a couple of $100 more. And I'm like, why does it cost more than a regular standard door? There's less material. It should be cheaper. They were like, no, we got to shut down the line to create your door. And that's why it costs so much. So the $873, it was the door and the install for the door. And so let me show that to you now. And this is, I just love this door, which this panel here, you can actually take the glass out and put in a screen. But I still have it. I've never done it because I'm afraid that I might break the glass or damage the glass in doing that. And so I just leave the glass, and that's perfectly fine. I have, to get ventilation, I have my skylight, and I also can open up all of my windows that I have in the home. But I just love this door, and Buddy, he just loves coming over, looking out the door and watching the birds, watching the world go by. He loves it. And this door is so easy to use too. It does lock, and I got to choose what kind of handle that I wanted. So with this door, you can also prop it to where it'll stay open, and it's very easy. You just come up here, you push it, and the door stays open, and then to close it, you just give it a little push here, and it will close. Another big thing that I have changed to the tiny home that has enhanced my life, not just my life, but Buddy's life too, is the front porch. It's not a very big front porch, but it makes such a difference. And before I got the front porch, I just had some steps here by the front door. I didn't have any protection from the weather overhead. And getting this front porch has made all the difference in the world. And the porch is not very big. It's only 8 feet by 8.5 feet, but it's plenty big for me and Buddy or anybody who wants to come over. I got plenty of room for company. We can sit out here, enjoy the outside. So for the addition of the front porch, it was around $2,500, but it was worth every penny. And also adding the front porch, it gave me another, and adding the front porch, it's multifunctional. It gave me the option to add a clothesline. So let me show you that I have added to the front porch. So you just have this little gadget here, and I got it hooked up to the post, and I use this as my clothesline. Another addition to the tiny home is the underpinning. That was actually a necessity, especially during the cold winter months. It helps you to protect all of your pipes up under the house, and you really want to do all that you can to try to prevent any pipes from freezing. So the underpinning is like corrugated metal, and I got a gray underpinning to help blend in. I thought it blended in well with the gray house, and it has made such a huge difference, because before I had a whole winter before I had the underpinning, and I did have to deal with freezing pipes, and that is no fun whatsoever, having to deal with frozen pipes. And so the following year, hire somebody to come out here and add the underpinning to the home. And that ran about around $2,500 to do that. It wasn't a whole lot of area to cover, but it was still very expensive. And this was right during the pandemic when everything, all the prices started going up. But what are you going to do? This here is where I used to get my water supply. And so the first winter here, I had a marine hose that hooked up to this water spigot and ran to my house. And that was how I got my water supply. And let me tell you, one winter of that was no fun. I did everything I possibly knew to do. I wrapped my hose to try to keep it from freezing, and nothing worked. It's a water hose, basically. It's just a water hose, and so it's going to freeze if the temperature gets cold enough. And so I had to come up with a different plan. So plan B was get a plumber. And Bobby, if you're watching, thank you, Bobby. You made a huge difference in my life by creating a new water supply into my home and to keep my pipes from freezing. So let me show you over here. Out here in the country, we are on well water. And so my plumber, Bobby, hi again, Bobby, he come out here and he created a new water line directly off of this well. And so dug he dug a trench, put in piping to go all the way to where my water inlet is. And there's two, because I live beside my mom. We have two separate shutoffs. She has one for her house and I have one for my house. This here, you can pull that up right here, and then that's where your shut off is if you need to shut your water off for some reason. And so he connected the water all the way from this, he connected the water directly from this well. And he trenched a pipe all the way around. Dug a trench, put in the pipe, and this here is where it comes into the home. This here is where it comes into the home. And you see here, I have a cord. It's an electric tape. And then in the winter time, and I'll plug it in. When I'm not using that, I just have the electric tape cord stuck down in there. And so this is where the water goes into the home, right here. And then on the outside, I have this pipe covering it, and it's full of sand to help protect the water from freezing going into the home. So even though you have your pipes and they're buried, and so you still have the pipes that are exposed to the elements that's going into the home, so you need to think about that too. And so that's why I had a friend to come out, and he built this little box for me. He took a pipe, filled it with sand, and then of course I have my electric tape also that I plug in whenever it's really cold out. When it's below freezing, I plug it in. And I keep it plugged in all winter long until it's not freezing anymore. And then he built this little house around it, and he put some insulation around that to help protect the water from freezing. So maybe this to give you an idea if you're looking at going tiny and you need to really think about your plumbing issues that you could have, especially during really cold winter months. And then you have to think about the water that's going out of the house. So I only have gray water that goes out of the house. So gray water, what is that? Well, that's your dirty water. Your sink water, your shower water, the water when washing your clothing. And then I also have a composting toilet. So the urine from the composting toilet is diverted and goes out with the gray water. And so you need to think about when the water is coming out of the home too, because that can also freeze in the winter time. And so what the plumber did, this is where the water comes out of the home, and you have this pipe here, and it's dug. He dug a trench and he put in piping, and it goes all the way down here, and it dumps over this hill. So the outgoing water, it just comes out. And then also in the piping, there's like little holes in the pipes, and I'm sure there's a proper name for it. I don't know what it is. I'm not a plumber. But it'll drain as it's dispersing out of the home. And so the water, it's just diverted and it goes down the hill. And you need to think about gravity too with your water supply. You don't want to have your water to whenever it comes out of your home to where it's stagnant. You want it to be able to drain. Think about gravity. And the last thing that I want to show you today, a big change that I made to my tiny home, is adding gutters. The only time that I ever seen gutters on a tiny home from all the videos that I watched is that they're using that for like collecting rainwater to store up the rainwater. But I noticed in my tiny home, the way that the roof is, which the water can come off the roof, but the way that it was draining off the house, it was leaving marks all over my home. And I'll see if I can try to capture that for you. You see all of those little streaks? That was happening all over the house, the front and the back. That was occurring on just the front of the house and the back of the house. On the sides of the house, the roof comes out to where the water doesn't actually drain on the house whenever it's coming off, when the rainwater is coming off the house. So you see from, and it's that way on both ends. I'll show you the other end. So as you can see, the ends of the home was protected, and you didn't have the rainwater just coming right off the tin roof onto the house. So I didn't have any of that streaking on the ends. And so the solution to that problem was to get some gutters. And so I got a Serval. They actually come out and spray my house every 3 months. And they put up gutters too. So I hired them to put gutters on the front of the house and the back of the house. Now, my home is only 30 feet wide, so I only needed 60 feet of gutter plus your downspout. And that was very expensive for a very tiny home. It cost around $800 for that. And so I'll show you here. So the gutters, I just have it on the front of the house and the back of the house. So it goes from this end at the very top to the other end. And then you have your downspout on each corner of the house. And as you can see, I did not put gutters on the ends of the home, only on the front and only on the back. I hope that you enjoy today's episode of the big changes that I have made in my home. Maybe you didn't know you could get a screen door for your tiny home, but you can. You can get one. And maybe you didn't think about having gutters put on your tiny home to protect it, your windows from getting any kind of water damage from draining off the roof, and then protect it like and protect your home like with mine, where I was getting the water damage on the siding of the house because of the way the water was coming off of the roof. And you always need to think about your water. How are you going to get water into your home and going out of your home? And think about the weather. It's not always pretty. Um, the weather is not always warm. It does get very cold in the wintertime, depending on where you live. And you need to take those things into consideration. Maybe, like I did, hire a plumber to come out and to be able to trench your pipes going in and out of your home to try to protect it from freezing. And hopefully, I was able to provide you with some ideas of things that you can do to help protect your pipes from freezing. And then the underpinning, it is a great thing to have because you have that cold air that blows under your house, exposes your pipes, and you do not want your pipes to freeze. And then always thinking about the shelter coming in and out of your home. The front porch has been a huge addition to this tiny home. It also helps it structurally. I know that in my area that we have had, of course, with my home, it is tied down, so I do have it secure. But having that front porch, I think it gives it that extra security from the whenever we have the high winds, because it helps protect the home. So that's something else to think about too, having those extra exterior structures that are close to your home. It just gives you all the more protection, which also gives you peace of mind, which is very important. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, ring that bell, give me a thumbs up, and if you would, leave a comment. I love reading your comments. And you go out, make it a great week, make it a great day. God bless and be safe. I'll see you on the next one.